All right, time for another tabletop review. This time, instead of doing a crankbait, I'm actually going with a soft plastic. So these are the Zoom Brush Hogs. And to give you an idea how much I fished the Brush Hog, these were just the ones that I pulled out of the boat. Just like, I'll throw, when I spin one of the plastics, you can see all these are kind of chewed up. This one's got a chunk missing out of it. This one, the head of it is split open. And so basically just when I'm done with some of these baits, here's another one, toss them in the cup holder. And so this was just the number of them that I ended up pulling out of the boat last time I cleaned it up. But anyways, yeah, so this is a bait that I use a lot. I pretty much almost always have a Texas rig on the boat, and almost always on that is going to be a brush hog. And I said brush hog, these are not the full size, these are the baby brush hogs. I tend to use the smaller, more finesse brush hogs, and I don't really know what the reason is for that, honestly. I used to have the bigger brush hogs. I think kind of what I decided was, it's big fish, or big bass, big fish, but sometimes when you kind of put the smaller presentation on it, you end up getting more fish. So sometimes I go for quantity over quality, and so I tend to use the baby brush hog. But I also have more in there. I also have like the Yum brand, like the Yum Christie brush hog, that's probably about as big as like 4 of these together or something. Like, I mean, it literally is like that big, like 4 of these all smashed together. So I will use those occasionally too when the conditions are right. But for a little bit more finesse presentation, I use, and I think all of these are the same color. I think some of them are just sun faded. So this is a green pumpkin red flake. This is a green pumpkin red flake. This is like I think it's called like a tequila sunrise or something like that. It's supposed to have like a pink bottom and like a purple top, something like that. This one's just a red with red flake. And then I think this one is, this is the green pumpkin. It's the same as these 3. It's just a little bit sun faded. For some reason, it's not coming through very well on the camera, but you can see the flake and everything on these. But this isn't how they come out of the package. This is just them sitting there being on the boat for, a while out in the sun. But yeah, so this is, like I said, a bait that I use a lot. I've caught a lot of fish on this. I typically use, like I said, a Texas rig, typically like something like a 3/16 ounce tungsten and like a 4/0 hook, and basically just plop that thing around in the water. And sometimes even actually on Welsh, where I came in 2nd place in my last my tournament before last, the thing that I ended up doing was literally just letting it sit. I found kind of like a channel, and I just was letting that bait sit out there and just letting the current take it, and that was actually what was getting bit. But a lot of times too, I'll get bites just kind of, basically popping the thing up. So what I'll do is I'll take my rod, pretend my hands with my rod, and I'll just kind of twitch it up, let it fall back down, twitch it up, let it fall, and then just, slowly but surely retrieve it and bring it back to the boat. I especially like to throw this around like wood and laydowns as well. I've had a lot of luck with soft plastic baits. Just if you find a stump or a laydown or something, just kind of popping this thing around. So definitely a bait that I really enjoy. The only complaint that I have about it is durability. I'd say this is good for maybe 3 to 5 fish before the plastic starts to give out. And typically where it tends to give out for me is 1 of 2 places, which is one, either around the nose of the bait or the body. But it's one of those things, you can either have a lot of action in a bait or you can have durability in it. So it really kind of comes down to the salt content. So I would say this is a pretty decent balance. And really at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world in terms of cost. I think a bag of these is, $3 or $4, something like that. So from that perspective, not a huge deal. But yeah, so definitely the brush hog, and especially the baby brush hog, definitely a bait that I use quite a bit and would recommend. And like I said, almost always, and I know I've said that about crankbaits, almost always have a crankbait tied on, almost always have a Zoom Brush Hog or Texas rig tied on. So pretty popular baits for me. So hopefully you'll find that helpful, and I will catch everybody later.